Welcome into the ATB show. It is Timmy, Rubber Shoes. Rubber Shoes live from beautiful downtown Lowell. He cursed us when we opened the show and said, I haven't had a call all day. So it's probably coming. And the last time we did this format, Rubber Shoes, we are basically, as I just said to you, it's you and I versus Lowell. Like you might get called any minute, and you jinxed us by saying that you haven't been called all day. So who knows? So Rubber Shoes from the Firehouse. I'm here in beautiful downtown New Hampshire. We have everybody is in hair and makeup this week. This is pretty accurate for corporate America. Like there's not too many people at the office right now. It's leading into Festivus. It's leading
Radio
into
stations
Christmas.
have the backups in.
Yeah. No, nobody's at work. So you're stuck with Rubber Shoes and I. Lots of stuff to talk about. Certainly want the update from you. We'll lead with the Red Sox since the Red Sox barely lead with the Red Sox. How excited should we be right now about 2025? Where's the meter on they're going to ruin my summer for you right now?
Every day it gets a little more that I feel like my summer's going to be ruined.
Oh, why? What happened now?
But nothing. That's the problem.
Oh, yeah, nothing's happening. Okay.
I mean, sorry, I'm just posting that we are live.
Your audio is
You know,
definitely coming in and out, though.
oh, sorry.
When you start to talk, it's muffled, and then it kicks in. I don't know.
It's
Yes.
Christmas. It's the Christmas programs. Oh,
Yeah, it is what it is.
the
What
week
it is.
before Christmas.
Yeah, yeah.
I it's my wife keeps telling me not to look at my feeds because it's like every day there's like different rumors of who they're in for. You know, they're gonna be the highest bidder. They missed out on the other guy, so they have more money to spend on this guy. So that's the last thing I saw today was that they're probably the top contender for Corbin Burns because they can spend the most money because everyone else has spent a lot of money on people. So
Mhm.
um, hopefully, hear rumors of trading for one of the pitchers from Seattle. Then I just saw something, the hot guy out of Japan they're in on. So I'm just I'm trying. I see the stuff. I don't read them anymore. I was reading them, probably 3 weeks ago to find out the inside of what they're talking about. But now it's all rumors. I don't think anyone knows anything, and I'm just glad Soto went to the Mets.
Yeah, that was fascinating. The longer it started to drag on, the more I knew that we weren't probably in the conversation anymore. I was more convinced that he was going to stay a Yankee because it just feels like that's happened before with the Yankees. Like when anybody's going to move, like they'll just sort of lock up. Because at one point, unless I'm losing my mind, Judge was in between contracts. Yes. Like there was a wasn't Judge just recently in between contracts?
I don't know if he ever made it to free agency.
Okay. That's what it was.
Locked
Yeah.
him up
They
before.
just locked him up before he got there. But that's sort of the feel I had. Like he's not going anywhere. He's probably just going to stay in New York. And he did. Just the wrong uniform for the Yankees, unfortunately. But good for us. Yeah, I'm happy to see anybody not over there. Interesting. All right. So there's nobody right now that you think is a probability that you're excited about.
I mean,
Burns. Okay.
like I said, I'm trying not to get too hopeful.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if they can get him, that would be unbelievable. We have to do something because the Yankees have done stuff. They got Max Fried and they got Bueller. Bellinger. Which one did they get from the Dodgers?
Okay. Yeah, Bellinger. Yep.
Dodgers. Bellinger. Yeah.
Yep.
So they've you know the soda thing didn't work and they went right out. I know we have crochet, but we need more than that.
Yeah.
I was excited for that day, and then it's like, okay, what else is going to happen? And then little tiny things, which is not going to get us all happy for Christmas dinner.
Speaking of that, do you guys host? Have we had this conversation? Do you host, or where do you go?
Dinner where is usually so Christmas Eve. My mother's side of the family usually that's the time we've always got together. So where
Hmm.
I'm going to my brother's house Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, where my the in-laws go to my brother-in-law's, and we just chill at home.
Okay.
Like, I've had my mother over a couple times, but it's she doesn't like to drive too much at her age now, so
Unless she has a broken
uh,
arm.
yeah, right. So we're gonna see her Christmas Eve. So I
Yep.
told her, I'm like, if you want to come over, we're not planning on having a big dinner. We'll have a dinner if you want to come down and see us because it's like everyone has to work the next day. So it's
Yeah.
it's not
Yep.
it's not like you have like this 4 day weekend that you get to just relax after you run around for, we get out of work early Tu- Tuesday.
Yeah. Yep.
Get out of work early Tuesday. We'll run home, get stuff together, run out to Lunenburg to my brother's, and then get home. And then, you know, I know Tyler going to his girlfriend's on Christmas Day at some point.
Yep.
So it would be like everyone forcing stuff, trying to squeeze stuff in, and we're like, we just kind of it's really our only day off during the hectic time, so it'd be nice to just chill out. So that's what we're doing Christmas Day.
Okay. Super
Watching
cool.
football, watching basketball.
Yeah. Yeah. That's going to be interesting. I'm glad you brought that up. The Netflix games. You have to imagine they bought an additional Commodore 64 to make sure it works. Like, is it good? They can't possibly. The NFL will kill them if they have another Tyson fight episode, right?
Yeah, it won't. There's not going to be that many people tuning in all at the same time. It was the Tyson Paul fight, it was fine all on the undercard for the most part, and then
Then it
everyone
went
found
sideways.
out they
Yeah.
were that fight was coming on, and then everyone jumped on. So I
Yeah.
don't think they'll get like. It's funny. I watched the whole undercard and everything of that, and I had problems with the one of the fights, the women's title fight, had a problem for me, and then I got out, got back in, reset stuff, and then I was fine for the Tyson Paul fight. But I
Yep.
think a lot of people had the problems that I had during the Tyson Paul fight, which
Yeah.
is like, yeah, had it been, it's Netflix. Most people are paying for it for other reasons, but I'm sure there was a lot of people that signed up just for that and going to cancel at the end of the month.
Well, they've historically done a 7-day free trial, but they killed it for that.
Yeah.
They made you sign up for that day. Yeah, you make a great point. They're not going to
Boring.
have they're not going to have the traffic they had in mass at one time. It's going to be scattered people because a lot of people won't have it on just because it's Christmas and they're doing dinner or presents or whatever. It doesn't have the same catch. If you could probably interview 10 people and half the country probably doesn't know there's Christmas Day football on Netflix.
And a lot of people tradition is watching the basketball game. So I
Right.
mean,
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see what kind of market they get on Christmas Day because you have you know on regular TV, you don't even need cable to watch those games,
Right.
and you have to put the streamer thing on and all that stuff. That's so. You could just have basketball on in the background, flip stations, put it back on a Christmas story, whatever.
Yes.
You can't do
TNT
that.
24
That's
hours.
see that's the thing with well they do it on two channels now. They do it on TNT and TBS
And
now.
TBS. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, I've noticed they go on the odd hour or is it the half hour? I forget how they do it. I think one starts at 8 o'clock on Christmas Eve and the other one starts at 9.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
so
you're
I always like it because it's like, okay, you stop watching it and then you do stuff and you flip around and then you go back to one and you find where you closest left off on the and pick that one.
I never realized it took me forever when the Bumpus's dogs invade the house and he's reading the paper, which is just classic, right? And when he gets to the back door after they've knocked the turkey over and they've run out of it, I forget the entire phrase, but at one point he screams "sons of bitches." But I don't know, for like the longest time I didn't know what he said because you're just sort of laughing that he's having a conniption. And then the other thing that
Bumpuses.
the Bumpus is the "sons of bitches." Um, uh, the other one is when she breaks the lamp. She's dusting and she breaks the lamp. And I never knew for years as a kid what he was yelling before he walked outside. He yells, "Not a finger," right? Meaning don't touch it, not a finger. I never knew what he was saying. I'm like, what is he saying? But he says not a finger. That's such a great. We went on one of our many road trips, as you can imagine. We were going out to Wisconsin for one of the Trek cyclocross races. And on the way back, of course, Janina found the house in Cleveland. And we went we went to the house. It was amazing. Great picture of Cameron in front of that house. That's such a good show. Yeah, you're right. They're probably not going to have that many people tuning in at once. It is interesting, too, the pissing match that Roger Goodell's not afraid to start. It's always been like Thanksgiving is the NFL. Christmas Day has always been the NBA. He can't help himself, though. So there's a piece of me that wants Netflix to melt a little bit on that day, honestly. And I got to be honest, I can tell you right now, Bentley Lane, we're going to put it on Netflix. Like, we're going to watch football. What? Go ahead.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
So when I found out they were having football on Netflix on Christmas, I thought for sure, like without even looking at the calendar, I thought Christmas was Thursday. So it made sense that it was going to be a Thursday night game. They just keep doing what they've been doing.
Right.
But it's a Wednesday. So it's like, okay, they're totally changing what they do just to have this. So it's probably going to be awful football because the Thursday night games are usually bad.
The third.
I'm good.
ATB, 8 control fire, engine pretty loud, respond to air 112 Bridge Street for NBA.
So wait a minute. As soon as you hear the first tone, you know it's you or not you?
Yeah. Every house has its own tone.
Okay.
So I know, and also, it's not in the picture, but I have a light in here that it also will go on when it's this house, one of the trucks from this house.
Oh, so if somebody's reading with headphones on, there's a visual alert. Okay, I get it.
Or in the middle of the night, the light goes on.
Sure. Yeah, obviously that makes a difference too. Okay, interesting. All right. Now I know. So I'll be looking for the strobe light next time the alarm goes off. It was so funny last time because I think I got in the car and of course Cheryl texted me. She's like, "That was quick." And then Adam watched it like the next day, and he's like, "Rubber Shoes just left." I'm like, "What do you want us to do? What do you want?" We'll get you a GoPro for the truck. Oh my God. Yeah, I find it interesting that they're sort of, dropping their dick on the table. They're like, we're just going to do football on Christmas Day. And then honestly, as the holidays go, then I think like New Year's Day, I've always thought about like, it's always going to be an NHL Original Six outdoor game, right? Or something like that. Either on or near New Year's usually. Actually, is it the Blackhawks are playing
Good.
The Blackhawks are playing at Wrigley. Which I think
New Year's Day always for me was it's college football, the Rose Bowl, the different big bowl games. But they with them changing the national championship, it's ruined those games because you're not getting you used to get really good matchups. The Pac-10 winner, the Big Ten winner in the Rose Bowl, and it was going to be now you're getting. It's probably like the fourth or fifth Big Ten team going there now.
Right.
Because you figure Ohio State, Penn State, Indiana are all in the playoffs. So they're getting their fourth. Maybe Michigan's going there.
Yeah. What's wrong with the Bruins? I know. There was a win last night. I get that. And
2 in a row, I think. See, I haven't watched them at all on the wet. They're on way too late for me. Like
the West Coast trip, yeah, it's a killer.
I'm in bed the latest 10 o'clock.
Yep.
So if I'm watching, a football game, Sunday night football, Monday night football, if I'm watching Bruins or Celtics starting on the East Coast,
yep,
I'll watch the Celtics and Bruins to the end, and I usually go to bed at halftime of the Sunday night and Monday night football game. So I'm usually in bed before they even drop the puck for these West Coast trips. So I haven't seen any. I just seen the highlights the next day. That's it.
We had back-to-back games where we were outscored 13-2.
Yeah, but
like
then
last
I went to bed
was an
last
OT
night.
winner. Yep.
Yeah, I went to bed. So I was up late last night. Tyler and I went to wrestling event at the Lowell Memorial Auditorium, and so I got home at 10:30. Got home at 10:30, so I was in. So it was 3-1 when I went to bed, Calgary. And then when I got up this morning, I saw they won in overtime. Like, holy shit.
5-4, right? 5-4, I think.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Well, the other two games, it's obvious. Offensive explosions for the other team, bad defense, but like, where's the goal scoring? Like, are we just slumpasaurus?
Been their problem all year. And you're like halfway through the season. It's not just going to magically show up, I don't think. So they're going to have to play defense and win, 2-1, 3-1.
Yep.
3-2. Every once in a while they'll pull one out of their ass like they did last night. But I think most of all, they're playing to win 1-0. Actually, hopefully the goalie gets a shutout. It's baffling. It's got to be driving, Sacco, Neely, and Sweeney nuts because the talent they have on the team should be better than this. I thought originally coming into the season they would be a lot better than this, but they should be at least better than what they've been, and it's a head scratcher. Like they're just playing way below everyone. Like the whole team is. Their stats are below their career averages for like a season.
Across the board.
It's crazy. Like nobody's playing above average. Everyone's playing below average.
Yeah. And
mixing people, the Providence is doing great. Like the Providence Bruins are scoring lights out. So they keep, they keep bringing someone up, hoping they catch lightning in a bottle, and it hasn't worked. It's got to be frustrating. Yeah, I mean, it's frustrating as fans. You can imagine how it is being the coach, the players, and that's another thing that happens. When you go through these long stretches of not being what you should be, you try a little too hard, you think a little too much. Like Pasta, like last night, that goal that he scored in overtime, that was Pasta being Pasta.
Yep.
He didn't think. He just got out there and did instinct. But a lot of times you see him out there, and he is just. You can tell the wheels are turning in his head, and he's hesitating. He's not playing his natural self and turning the puck over a ton. It's just ugly.
Yeah, I'd be happy for them to like at least get off the struggle bus and just get themselves into a comfortable position where, and I know they're not out of it, but like where they're comfortably getting into the playoffs. Like, I think we're all emotionally scarred from like, we don't need the President's Cup. That's not going to help anything. That didn't help us last time. I don't want them using every last ounce of strength to fight their way into the playoffs. But as we've always said, like the NHL playoffs, all you need to do is make it. And, anybody can shake it up. So I don't know. They're so off. It's disconcerting that they're
from this. I don't even know what made them do this. The little, United States, Canada, Finland, and Sweden little tournament thing they're having.
Yeah.
Maybe the break from that, guys getting away playing with other players, and maybe that they get a jump start after that. Hopefully, it's yeah, been crazy.
Yeah, it's not great. Celtics, how you feeling?
It's so strange that they had that stretch. They had five games in 7 days, and then since then it's like one game in 5 days, one game in 4 days. They get all this time off now. It's but they need it. Hopefully, I haven't heard an update on Porzingis. Hopefully, I think they were hopeful he would possibly be able to play Thursday night because of the time off
Yeah.
that they've
Was
had.
it an ankle again?
Heel pain.
Heel pain. Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, when he walked off, I was like, "Uh-oh." Not
Yeah.
that we've shown we can win without him, but it's like you know, one guy goes out and then it's like the next piece to drop, you're in trouble. So you
Yeah.
don't want any of these guys to be hurt for any amount of time.
Are you guys getting to a Celtics game this year? Have you been to one yet?
So our holiday party is January 10th
What game is
against Sacramento,
that? Okay.
I think.
Oh, that's up in the suite with the steak tips.
Yep.
Wonderful. Awesome. Awesome.
Tyler will be up there this time because
Oh, right.
this will be his. Yeah.
It's a
So the whole
family
family
affair
will be
now.
up there.
I forgot about that. Will he fit in the skybox?
They might have had to rent an extra room just to get him in there.
He's definitely going to duck his head on the door jam. That's for sure. What do we got? Bowl games. When does Notre Dame play?
Friday night.
It is Friday night.
Friday night at 8 o'clock in South Bend against Indiana. It's that. So one of the stations I heard like last week, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that's going to be a big in-state rivalry." I'm like, when's the last time they played the University of Indiana in a football game? It's
Right.
like there's no rivalry. You
There's
can't
no rivalry.
use that
Yes.
word at all with this game.
There's no rivalry. Yeah, correct.
Yeah. So and I was disappointed that Notre Dame got. I think they have the seventh seed when I found out they got the seventh seed. But then
Yeah.
I saw their bracket. I'm not too mad about it because if they beat Indiana, then they play Georgia, who's not the Georgia of old, and then they'd be they. So SMU was the team that has this bye in that one. I think it might be Penn State that would play them. I think I don't hate their the road that they would have to go.
Yeah,
I don't hate it.
I was, looking at the the brackets. Hang on a second.
My uncle and my cousin, they're like, oh, maybe it will be Oregon and Notre Dame for the championship.
Why can't I find a bracket? You would think I'd be able to find a bracket. Oh boy, of course not. Oh, there it is. Yeah, I'm actually, if I'm being honest, I love you, but I'm rooting for Indiana. And then I would want SMU over Penn State for sure. I'd rather see SMU. Like Penn State, I'm sort of bored with the coach. Like he's so grumpy.
I don't know if I've even seen a Penn State game this year.
Yeah, he was all mad because he was at the dais for their presser after their last game, and of course they had lost, and the band is playing, like the band is like, I don't know, right behind the step and repeat, like super loud, and he's like, "Is this really the best setup?" He's like, "This is a JV setup." And everybody's like calling him a J. And I've always liked him, and I just feel like he's just angry that he's sort of in the Ryan Day bubble right now, like can't seem to get over the hump. And Big Ten's a tough place to live. But
yes,
he's
especially now that they brought Oregon in.
Oh, 1,000%. Yeah, 1,000%. So, I'd love to see SMU figure that out. That's Saturday at 12. We're actually going to be at Chestnut
The
Hill
thing with,
because,
like,
ironically, we're
players
going to
and
Chestnut Hill to watch the BC boys play the SMU boys in basketball, which is ironic. Yes, so that's what we're doing Saturday. So,
I don't. It's like if you just lost a big game and then people is putting mics in your face, I think I'd have a little attitude too.
yeah, no, I
I
get
know
you,
it's
but
part of the job, but
yep. Yeah, I'd rather see Tennessee beat Ohio. Like I want all the dogs on that day, I think. I guess Clemson and Texas. I go either way. If Texas wins, cool. I like Sarkisian. But I'd take a Clemson win just to have all the dogs advance. That'd be great. I'm sure ND is going to be fine. The thing with the Indiana coach, his whole thing, Google me, I win. Like that's have you seen that? When people are asking about him, he's just like, yeah, people, he got a question a handful of games ago. It might have been like the Wednesday presser before the game. And they're like, yeah, so we were talking to the other team about Indiana and all that kind of stuff. And we mentioned your name like nonchalantly in a question, and they didn't know who we were talking about. And he was just like, tell them to Google me. I win. And yeah, it's just so I think it's going to be a pretty tough day for Indiana in South Bend. I have to ask you a question. I had this conversation with somebody the other day because we were talking about all the stadiums that we visited and stuff, and we've been to ND but never been in. And they were like, yeah, it just seems they were talking about how it just seemed like not like the question came up about the end zones. Do you know the history behind the end zones? No. This is the most incredible thing because we were talking about it and I said I saw something that explains it but I forget it and then I remembered it. So everybody talks about it because Pittsburgh used to do this too. The Steelers always had one end zone that said like Steelers or Pittsburgh, usually Steelers, and the other one just had the hash lines. The reason Notre Dame, which this is super cool, I adore this, the reason Notre Dame has those lines, all of those lines are at a 42-degree angle. They all point towards the Golden Dome. And there are 9 in each end zone. So there are 18 lines at a 42-degree angle, and that is the birth date of the school. That is amazing. Like, I love shit like that. Because I remember as a kid just being like, it's Notre Dame. How do they not have stuff in their end zone? What's with the lines? Which looks super retro and super cool and very varsity and all that kind of stuff. But that's the story. It's 18 lines, all at a 42-degree angle, headed all aiming towards the dome. Which I guarantee you ask like 90 people, and one of them will probably be able to tell you that story. And you're a diehard fan.
Yep.
You learned something.
Oh, yeah.
It's Deep Thoughts with Tim Lindsay. So, all right. So we've got, that's the Friday night game. All right. I didn't realize that was the Friday night game. Then the rest of the slate on Saturday. I'm so confused on how it's all broken out. Because you've got these things going on, then you've got, and I appreciate this time of year. I really appreciate you just put on ESPN and it's just Capital Bowl Mania, right? Or Capital One Bowl Mania, and it's it's the Gasparilla Bowl. It's the Perkins School for the Blind versus the little Sisters of the Poor, but there's just background music, college football on all the time, which is super cool. I enjoy that. We have the Pinstripe Bowl, which of all the places that Janina would not be willing to go to a game, here's the thing. Here's why we're not doing it. We were doing a road trip after the holiday, and we're not, and I'll tell you why in a second. Janina's like, we're not going to. I had no desire to go to a Saturday night, 6 p.m. cold game in the Bronx. There's not a piece of me that wants to do that. That doesn't seem enjoyable at all. So the road trip we were going to make, you'll love this. We found this place in Pennsylvania. It's in Morgantown. It's called DK Oldies. They sell retro video game consoles and all of them. If you go on their website, DK Oldies, like Donkey Kong, you will find every and any old video game system and all the games and all the controllers and all the stuff. So last May, or this past May, for Cameron's birthday and graduation, he wanted a GameCube, which, as you know, we had a GameCube. Everyone had a GameCube. Of course, he got rid of it because he's like, I don't need it anymore. We don't need the GameCube, so we got rid of it. So he wanted that. So as you can imagine, they're more expensive than they used to be because now they're retro. So yeah, so that happened, and then he for Christmas wanted a PS2, which of course we had, but we don't have anymore. So that's happening. I'm laughing now because the Boca Raton Bowl just started, Western Kentucky and James Madison University. So that got ordered. So I said to Janina's like, I don't know where we did this, but we made the promise to him that we'll eventually go to DK Oldies in Pennsylvania, which looks like Disney World. If you're a dork like us and you played video games, it looks awesome. And I'm like, they got to have merch. It'll be super cool. So Janina's like, we got to make sure they're going to be open, though, because our plan was we would drive out on the 26th, get dinner, crash at a hotel, wake up Friday morning the 27th, go shopping, and then drive home. Because we want to be home for Saturday, because Saturday at noon is the Pinstripe Bowl, which is very exciting. So I called last week, didn't get anybody, left a message, which is really funny because they're super mom and pop, but they have a huge warehouse. So she says something this morning. I'm like, oh, I got to call again to make sure, because if we drive out there and they're not open because they're closed, because they're pretty small. They're big, but they're small. I call. I got a girl. I'm like, hey, Kara, I really appreciate you taking my call. Just wondering, wanted to make sure you guys are open on Thursday the 26th next week and Friday the 27th. She's like, well, we are, but we're not a store. We're just a warehouse. We almost. If I had made that phone call, dude,
Yeah.
Janina would have killed me. I think she wouldn't have been that upset, but yeah, that would have been a fool's errand for sure. She's like, well, you could maybe call and get a tour of the warehouse. I'm like, that's not really what we want to do. I just pictured they must have had some retail establishment in front of the warehouse, you know, but they're online only. So DK Oldies, by the way, if you're looking for a GameCube from 1942, they'll take care of you. In unrelated video game news, but it feels like a win for us. Did you see we got somebody from Bamba Lamba?
Yes.
Boston College
Set
got a
that up,
Bamba
yeah.
Lamba quarterback. Who knows?
The portal is great.
What's that?
The portal is great.
It's a win for us for sure.
I think the portal is going to kill college football.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Here's the thing that I didn't realize, and Lord knows, you know, what we gave that kid. What's his name? Dylan Lonergan or something like that. Dylan Lonergan. I didn't realize, and it was an interview the other day that Bill O'Brien was having with somebody, and he was talking about just the random conversations he'll have with kids on the team. And he goes, yeah, I'll have a kid come in. And he was only saying it to say it very matter-of-factly. He wasn't like annoyed by it, but he's like, yeah, the guys will come in. They're always coming in and asking, hey, coach, how can I do this? How can I do that? How can I make a little more money? And that's when it sort of hit me, which I guess it makes sense. It's not like only the starting quarterback, Billy Corey, is getting $10 million. Like the left tackle is fighting for like, you know, $30,000 a month or something. And then I, as I started to like guess what the math would be, somebody posted somewhere on the social medias, there's a tackle, there's a linebacker from Florida who said he was going into the portal unless the Gators gave him $45,000 a month. Like he named his monthly salary, the car he wanted, and I'm like, oh my God, this runs so deep.
They need to fix it if they're going to keep it. They need to figure it out because, one, it's going to kill all the smaller schools because like Oregon just keeps plucking quarterbacks every year to, oh, you're a 5-year senior? Okay, come play for Oregon. We'll get you to the NFL, you know?
Yep.
Especially if you're a backup. I mean, they're not even like backups aren't the only ones moving. Like they got Riley Leonard from Duke. He was the starter at Duke last year.
Yep.
So there's guys that are. I mean, Bo Nix was starter at Auburn. You know,
Auburn, where his dad went
Yeah, it's
where he was a child fan, right? Yeah, it's crazy. It's great. Well, if you think about it too, I think what's is incredible. I just saw a quick article this afternoon. Belichick already got the highest rated unsigned high school quarterback to sign with UNC in just the last 20 minutes. And he got a linebacker who was in the portal set to leave to come back. Right. And I would argue, because we love him, that 51% of that conversation is, come on, I'm here. Stop it. Get out of the portal. And obviously the rest of it is NIL. But it is amazing, and it is disheartening, because at little old Chestnut Hill University, the money is never going to be there. It's just never going to be there. Where
like
you
how
got
Portnoy did for Michigan, you know.
Yep, Portnoy, Michigan's like, he gets involved with that other alumnus and her husband. And I'm not saying that he did 6.25 and she did 6.25, but $12.5 million showed up for that kid. And that's just the start for that kid.
I mean, UNC can tap Michael Jordan. Maybe he can, pony up for some players. I mean, I think, traditionally it's a basketball school, but I think people from the basketball side would like to see their football program do well, so they'd be willing to put money on that side of the on the football field, But I mean, Oregon has Uncle Phil in their backyard.
Oh yeah, yep, done and done, right?
Like, he's gonna pay whatever to get whoever.
Yep,
every time. So
yep.
that's a huge backing. I don't know. I'm sure there are other really rich people out there that went to universities that they care about, but I mean, Stanford has a lot of
I was
people
just
that
gonna
have
say,
money,
how much longer before Tiger's like, let's go get a quarterback?
But
right?
how willing? So that's the thing with Stanford. I'm pretty sure Notre Dame doesn't keep the standards that they used to. Like how it is at BC and Stanford. They take academics over
Sure.
athletics.
Yep.
Maybe turn their head a little bit, but not like other schools do. But I'm pretty sure Notre Dame has they're not as into academics as they used to.
They've gotten creative. Yeah. I also think I think personally they're the greatest brand in the college game when it comes to football.
I mean,
if you march around, the Notre Dame hat is on the heads of Americans the way a Yankees hat is on the heads of Americans. And there's more love and passion for the game behind the Notre Dame hat, where New York is more, the Yankees hat is more of a fashion accessory.
I would say Notre Dame is a national college team.
Yes.
More than
and it's been that way.
People are fans that never went to the school,
Yep.
Alabama, you're mostly fans of Alabama if you're from Alabama.
1,000%. That's exactly what I mean.
Even though I'd say, I mean, they have their own. That's why it's going to be interesting, them missing out on one of the buys this year because they're not in a conference. That if when their TV deals up, if they try to figure something out about, either, I mean, and plus they're I don't know how many years they've said that this 12-team bracket is set for right now, but I'm sure they're going to tweak it, and maybe Notre Dame says, okay, we'll give you so much money every year out of our TV money to make sure that we can get a bye if we're in the top 4.
So I'm hoping that I can skate all the way through, because I already took this, but I just opened it up again because I want to read to you. Here it is. Oh no, this is not it. And I know I'm boring you because I'm not really making any sense right now. Here it is. So I got a survey today, and I'm uber excited that we are active in the chat when it comes to NIL, little old Chestnut Hill. So there is now, there's always been, there were the fee days, membership. There is the, I'm completely drawing a blank on there's a major fund on campus that's always been directed mostly towards athletics. All that aside, now there separately is a thing called the Friends of the Heights. That is the official name of the NIL collective for BC. And I told you over the summer, we got a huge questionnaire about, would you want to, like, if we put a pool in the upper deck, would you buy seats there? And I told you guys, I just punched yes to everything because I want them to build all this shit, right? Because we currently, and I would argue Gillette is the same way, we currently have the nicest high school stadium. The two nicest high school stadiums in America are at Foxborough and at Chestnut Hill. Chestnut Hill,
Foxborough is much better than what I went to in East Rutherford.
I appreciate that, but we have work to do at both. Certainly a ton of work to do at Chestnut Hill. So we got, I don't know in what skew they were sending this out. It was really about the game day experience, but I have to tell you, I was stunned when I saw this. I'm like, oh, we got to talk about this tonight. So one of the last things they asked you was, and there's 7 different categories, and they make you slide them into the position of importance. The cost of maintaining a high-level football program will increase significantly in the next few years. Please rank the following ideas in order of acceptability for you as a fan. 1 equaling the most acceptable and 7 being the least acceptable. Here are the categories, William. Wait do you hear this? And this is in the order that they initially sent it. Adding corporate patches on the uniforms. And that seems like, it's happening. It's probably coming to the NFL. Sure. Cutting a non-revenue sport from the athletics department. I don't like it either. I agree with you. I actually moved that when I answered this. I moved that to 7. I think that's the last thing we need to worry about. Placing corporate logos on the playing field. Charging an additional 10% talent fee on tickets. You can imagine how I felt about that.
Oh, yeah. That might have to be 7, and then the other one move to 6.
Selling corporate naming rights to the ACC. For example, the Coca-Cola Athletic Coast Conference. So are some of I'm like, well, I don't think they would pose that question to us unless they know that other conferences are thinking the same thing. Yeah. Right? Which is
everything's going to have a sponsor.
It's going to be really interesting. The next one is this one made me want, I can hear Richard E. Lindsay spinning proverbially in his grave. Accepting a loan from private investors, private equity, which the department would pay back over time with interest. Well, I think as soon as we start to go down this road, I don't like that one at all. And then the last one was a 5% increase.
Like Kamala Harris running for president,
The last one was a 5% increase on all game day related costs, including tickets, parking, concessions, and on-site merchandise.
How much increase?
A 5% increase. Like I can tell you my tickets, because they love this. They sent out the invite and like, hey, season ticket holders, here's your shot to get your Pinstripe Bowl tickets, which we're not doing. And in the same email, they said, by the way, your season ticket renewal is already open. Feel free to go in. And I went in to take a peek, and you know where we are. We're on the 50-yard line, upper deck, facing the school. We've been there for years. That has most recently, and this is remarkably reasonable, although our record isn't, and our strength of schedule isn't, but that's just another story for another time. $900 for 4 seats on the 50-yard line at BC. I'm not upset. What do you think my tickets went to? Yeah, for the season. $900 for the season.
Yeah, that's great.
It's awesome. It's awesome. We want to move. Janina wants to move, but she wants to go to the other side. She wants to be on the home side. Which I'm torn for a myriad of reasons. First and foremost, those are my parents' seats. Those are my dad's seats. I don't want to move. That side, though, is the visitor side, and that upper deck fills in with everybody that's not us on certain games. And to go to the other side with the school behind us, with the view of the city, which is the home side, we would at least be elbow to elbow with fellow BC people and would make it a nicer experience for us for those bigger games. Because I'll tell you right now,
Sunny side.
What's that?
Which side is the sunny side?
Oh, so our seats sitting behind us facing the school, the sun's obviously setting in the west, hitting us in the face. Because remember when I would have if I had a full weekend, I had the sun on my left side at BC and the sun on my right side at the Patriots.
I want to be on the warm side on the cool months.
Yeah, I completely agree, but I also would love to be sitting amongst BC fans for those bigger games.
You'll be sitting closer to where I'll be sitting next year then.
Yeah.
If you sit.
So that's that was, certainly a challenge with it. And then the other thing is I really like having the Gaston Hall and the tower on the height, I love that whole view of having the campus behind the stadium. So, but what I want to do is move to the other side. Hopefully what pisses me off about the other side, if you look at it when you're there are no seats on the 50. They actually dropped an aisle on the 50-yard line. So you can be perilously close to it. But like our seats right now, we're sitting on the 50 just because of the way they have it broken up. So, we went from 900 to 1,100. Not bad. But they still haven't started. I mean, maybe they're factoring in everything, obviously. I think they're going to start to do some light changes over the offseason. I hope they're doing stuff because based on everything that they said that they're going to start doing when they were asking our opinion over the summer, I hope they start because that's another big factor. You can throw a whole bunch of money at a kid, but you launch him into a high school stadium and he's like, what are we doing? I think just from a crowd standpoint and from a noise standpoint, the best thing we could do, we're not going to be bigger than 60,000. We're 44.5 right now. But if we can turn that upper deck, which is just 4 pieces right now, into an upper bowl and fill in those corners, you can get 15,000 more seats, which would make it feel a little bit better. But we'll see. There's my rant. The other thing was full of questions about all the other stuff, and I just bitch about the men's room all the time. Alumni Stadium forever has had sinks with one twist, and it's just cold water. For all the money the school has, give me some hot water on the Saturday after Thanksgiving when I'm washing my hands after I use the men's room. A little hot water. That's all I'm asking for. Just a bit. A scotch.
Have they done any upgrades in that stadium over the years?
Some aesthetic stuff, some concession stuff-ish, but no, in the grand scheme of things, like the structural stuff, no. I mean, those men's and ladies' rooms have been as archaic. They've been that archaic since 92. And I won't, if you try to tell me any different, it was, who was the athletic director at the time? I'm going to get his name wrong. It was in 1992. The city wouldn't let us rebuild. So before we went and asked permission, they ripped everything down. Like we just ripped it all down. We're like, well, we got to rebuild now. You got to let us rebuild.
Yeah.
And we did. And at the time it was great because we were back in the day, it was just that horseshoe. Everything on the Commonwealth side was open. We would move stands in for bigger games, and then we would put upper decks up.
Able to do stuff now that Doge is going to get rid of all the red tape people have to go through to build stuff in this country.
Your favorite department, the Doge department. You can't wait. Oh.
Nope, good.
Oh, we're doing all right.
That one was close.
We're doing all right.
Oh, it was all right.
Is it you?
Engine two, not ladder two.
Oh, okay. You're ladder two. Okay.
Yeah.
We got close. All right, so we got predictions for this weekend for football for the Patriots?
Well, I mean, it's getting ugly. Have you been listening to the radio at all?
Well, couple things. I always listen on the way in. On the way home, I won't. But on the way in, I always listen. What are you referring to in particular?
The fighting between the coaches and that like the players are throwing coaches under the bus. Mayo's throwing coaches under the bus.
Yeah,
I
he
think
definitely said something about AVP, and then he tried to walk it back. The video they have in the lip reading of Jonathan and Robert bitching about the play calls.
about that. So conspiracy theorist, Michael Felger thinks that the Kraft family tells the TV to make sure you put them on TV. He thinks that they set those things up for them.
Huh.
I'm like, they're like, well, what other than Jerry Jones, no other owners get put on the. But how many other owners are like sitting right there?
Right.
They just sit out where they can be seen more than other owners do.
Sure. Yep.
I
3 weeks ago,
I didn't think Mayo had to worry about his job. I think he might have to worry about his job right now.
I'm just going to remind everybody, last year I said it was a terrible idea. So,
I didn't love it.
I like him, but
I do. I have nothing against him. I did not a piece of me. I wasn't feeling it. And I do respect the fact that Kraft stuck to his word because he promised him the keys. I get that. And what did I always say? As soon as Vrabel became open to the conversation, did they have the conversation? We'll never know if they did. And when they saw Vrabel and they were giving him his red jacket on that week that his team was on a bye, he's not going to be like, yeah, I'm open to the conversation, because he was happy in Tennessee. And then Tennessee walked him behind the barn at the end of the year and shut him down. Well, per Tommy Curran, did you see today? Vrabel is open to the job if it's open. And I'm telling you, I would love, and I know I feel like I'm walking it back and saying we have to use Nana's China. It's the holidays. But like, yeah, let's go get the old China. Let's bring Vrabel in as head coach, a defensive-minded head coach, which I know Gerard Mayo is supposed to be too, yet it doesn't feel that way based on the film from last week. And then who else is available? Josh McDaniel. Get the band back together. At this point, I will take the devil we know versus the devil we don't know. And they've both, Josh struggles in the head coaching role, but put him back in there as OC with Drake May.
Take care of the defense. You're going to have the offense.
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, so
I feel that
Belichick didn't
show people, didn't
groom people to learn. Like, Mayo looks like he's never. The biggest eye opener was early when he took the job, like
probably when his training
camp started, and he was doing press conferences then, and where he said that there's a lot more that goes on than I knew, and I'm like, geez, how did you not know all this stuff? Like, you've been around there long enough. Obviously, he either didn't try to learn or someone didn't want him to learn.
Yeah. Yep. I don't know. Well, so it will be annoying at this point for them to win another game. I'll say that as a Patriots fan. I'll be annoyed if they win another game. Like, I need you to hold on to 3 for dear life and pray for 2, right? That would be delicious if we got 2. We're not going to get 1. I think the Giants are already having their mail forwarded. So last weekend I looked at the Giants, the Raiders, and the Patriots rest of the schedules, and I saw maybe one game. I can't remember if it was the Giants or the Raiders. I thought one of them could win one game, so we could possibly move up to 2. But
let's at least stay at
3.
Yeah, I feel like the Patriots. I think every head coach, obviously, I don't think there's a head coach that's right now comfortable enough to say, I'm comfortable in my role and I'll tank, right? Because I think you've got there's been rumors that if Shador goes to the Raiders, doesn't it make sense to have primetime come in, right? I don't think Brian Daboll feels comfortable enough, and I don't think his GM is like, yeah, tank it for the draft. They're both going to lose their job.
Dable, I think, would have had to sign off on Daniel Jones saying that, yeah, he's good. I can work with him. I can make him.
Yep.
And then, that general manager is going to go if he hasn't been fired already. Like, I think the Giants are cleaning house.
Wouldn't it be great too? I'd love this, and this is a dream sequence because I just love him so much. I'd love to see them excommunicate our dear friend Elliot Wolf too, and I'd love for them to go out. This is on a limb. I don't believe he's got any connection to the Kraft family. I just love him, and he's so smart. He's super smart on ESPN. I think he has great takes. When he's in the booth, I think he does a great job with the analytics of the game. I'd love Louis Riddick. Like, to me, it's such an outlier, but like, let him come in as GM. I would adore that. I don't think I don't know. I fear that we could get a Vrabel and we could get help me, Josh McDaniel back and put that together and still have somebody who's managing the draft. Maybe not. And you can't say, well, what was bad about the draft? Well, I'm not saying he had a bad draft. I just think I would want to blow the whole thing up right now, quite honestly. I don't know if Elliot Wolf's the person.
Well, I'd want someone that been on a team that they've actually been in. He's been in the war room, helped making decisions, seeing how everything works for a team that's built something. I don't want to have a guy come from TV that's never done it. He has good ideas and Elliot Wolf, I don't think any of those guys really had any say on what was going on in our drafts. And we didn't really have many great drafts in the near past. But like how we got Theo and, which that I watched the comeback. That was amazing
so
how it ended. I didn't realize, like, I know watching Moneyball that they offered Billy Bean a contract, and like how I think they offered him a lot of money because like watching that and finding out how much they really wanted him. I was like, I think they offered him a ton of money, and he said no so he could stay close to his daughter. I was like,
which is amazing.
Wow.
Amazing.
Yep.
Yeah. I love that movie so much. Yeah. Such a good movie. All right. We're going to throw out predictions on the Patriots.
That part was just done for the movie. Like the part where he stayed for the daughter, I thought was just part of the movie to make it, Hollywood. But I was like, wow, so that actually is real.
Yep. Patriots at the Bills. Bills giving 14. What do you think our final score is?
The Bills are still fighting to possibly get that number one bye.
Yeah, they're hungry. Let's
see, what did they just put up on Detroit? 45?
Yes.
So, I think it's going to be an ass whooping. It might be 38-24 Bills.
You're really going there.
Yeah.
Oh, I've had this ready for 6 hours. 52-10. We're gonna get trucked.
I don't love the Bills' defense. That's why I think we might be able to score on them. That's why I said 24. I don't think it's going to be like they can't do anything on offense.
Okay.
I think just they're not going to stop them on defense. Like the Bills are going up and down the field every time they get the ball.
Yep. All right, 38-24. I'll take 52-10, and we're holding on to draft pick number 3 for now, unless the Giants and the Raiders decide to lose more games, which is delicious. I believe next week we're doing 4:30 Eastern Standard Time. Are we in standard time? Yeah.
I changed my haircut. Yes. So
I love that you did that. Yeah, I called over to Golf World because we get the men's league, and they could only squeeze us in at 6. I'm like, all right, we're going to have to move some pieces on the board, but it is Festivus. So it'll be an action-packed day. Actually, my Festivus poll is still in my office. I need to put it out in the hallway.
I have to send you something that Steph sent me today on Instagram.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It was the peanut.
Yep.
So it was Charlie Brown and
Linus going to get the Christmas tree, and it was a poll. And
I love
it. And Charlie Brown has Frank Costanza's voice to it.
Excellent.
And
Excellent.
oh my God, I'll send it to you. It was awesome. It was one of the best meme things I've seen on in a long time.
Do you know that whole story on Seinfeld?
Send it to you already.
Okay. It's on Insta? Okay.
Instagram.
I know you don't check there that too often.
Not enough, I guess. Yes, Janina reminds me of that all the time. Because then when I open up the phone to look at the thing that
With
I
Maddie.
didn't see from her, yeah. You know that whole Festivus story is true.
Like in Seinfeld world.
Like,
So, yeah,
David or someone.
yeah.
Larry David and Jerry Seinfeld were asked about it, and it was one of the writers on the team was talking about it because they were just looking for something, and he was talking about it. He's like, yeah, blah, blah, and Festivus, and they're like, wait, what? And like, oh, my dad invented this holiday called Festivus. So one of the writers' dads invented the holiday, and they ran with it. The funny thing is, if you're into the lore of Seinfeld, and I know you are, the only episode that I guess the episode 1, the name of the show was the Seinfeld Chronicles. Yeah. And that episode was called The Pilot. And then after that, every episode was usually just 2 words. It was the this, the that, the this, the that, right? And everybody's always like, where's the Festivus episode? Because you try to search for it. It's actually called The Strike. Because that's the episode that they realize that Kramer walks in. He's like, I'm going back to work. And they're like, what?
Yeah.
Because he just thought he was unemployed. Yeah.
We were talking about that episode at work yesterday, and like how many which a lot of Seinfeld episodes, you start watching, you're like, oh, I love this one. And then you're like, oh, I forgot this also happens in it. And this all time. Because that's the no bagel.
No bagel, no bagel.
The bad lighting girl. It's, you know,
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she's in always... that. Oh my God. It's and then the Elaine has the sandwich coupon, and she's trying to get it from the guys at the off-track betting. Oh my God. That
great episode.
They were brilliant, and that they made all of those storylines always converged at the end. Just phenomenal writing, but enough about that. We will see you on Monday at 4:30 for the Festivus episode for Adam and of course Uncle Dukes and Corey. It's Rubber Shoes, and I'm not going to jinx you. You're going to have a wonderful dinner. You get to watch the Golden Girls. Maybe you don't have to go on any calls at all. We'll see you next week. All right, everybody. Make sure you subscribe and like and share and comment, and you can do that at atbshow.com.